Well, welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's great to be here again.
I know we go back to before this show was ever thought of. I know you used to be on Herman Bailey's show a lot, and
I think I did my first show in '85 or '86. Been a while.
I've been around a while, and you've been busy. Oh, he's got offices in 1, 2, 3, 4. How many towns?
We have 20 office locations, and some of them are not even on that.
These are all in Florida.
Right.
And also, he's on the radio, very good on the radio. And what a blessing, you know, if you can get through when he's on, you can get a little free advice.
Yeah, I think I have the longest running continual program in Florida. So we've been doing the radio show for 32 years. It's a live show. I can't really prepare for it because I don't know what people are going to ask me. So it's a live show where people can ask legal questions.
And you're telling me that this week you and Beverly celebrated 52 years since your first date.
Of our first date.
May I commend you? I'm not sure there's a whole lot of men who would remember that.
She kept a scrapbook, so she hasn't let me forget. So.
Oh, I should compliment Beverly.
Right. No, I think I would have remembered too, though.
Boy, she's a beautiful lady.
I called her my dream girl before we started going steady. She was the girl that I wanted. So.
She's still your dream girl, right?
Yep.
That's good. Did you always, when you're a little boy, say, I'm going to be an attorney?
I did. I used to watch Perry Mason.
Oh.
And I think I got hooked on being an attorney way back when I watched him. So it was one of my favorite first TV shows.
Of course, that was all criminal.
It was.
And you have done some.
I have done. My first couple of years, I did just about everything. I did family law, which I didn't really like. I did criminal, bankruptcy, real estate, foreclosures. I did just about everything my first year. But actually, looking back, that really helped me be able to answer questions on just about everything.
Yeah, without a doubt. When should a person begin their estate planning?
I think everyone needs a will, so once you turn 18 and can sign a legal document, you should think about it. You know, a lot of people that are 18 have some assets. They might have a car, or they might have a bank account. They might have accumulation of money they've saved. They might have personal items, their computers and their phones and their things like that. And they might want to have a special person they leave them to. If they did nothing and weren't married and didn't have children, everything would go to their parents by statute. So they might have some special items and special personal things and special requests they can put in a will.
I know this isn't your area of absolute expertise, but I have a grandson who's got a job, kind of an entry-level job, and I want to encourage him, you give 10% to the Lord, you save at least 10%. And I've heard figures that, and his eyes got big when I told him this, I've heard that if somebody his age can put away $100 a month, by the time they're 65, they're a millionaire.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I have a lot of clients. I have an office in Lakeland, and I have a lot of Publix employees that come see me in my Lakeland office. And I can tell you that they have a stock plan. And a lot of those people, they might not have risen very high in their management job, but a lot of those people retire with their stock, and they're worth over $1 million.
Wow.
I mean, they could be the produce manager. They might have gotten up a little high, never became the store manager. They've got a nice job, and they've saved along the way. And they,
just kind of an ordinary job.
Yeah, and they'll put away a certain percentage of their money in stock. And the public stock has done great. And that's just one example. And they can easily retire with...
Public or?
Publix.
The grocery store. Well, I got a grandson who works there.
Tell him to invest in stock as soon as he can.
Yeah.
They have a great plan.
Yeah, I mean, his eyes really got big, and I thought, wish I'd have known these things, you know, when I was younger. What a wonderful opportunity for a working class person. I
had a person one time come to me after I spoke in a church, which I get to do quite often, actually. And I was talking about tithing your estate and how you do that. And one person came up afterwards and said, well, you know, I haven't tithed like I should have my whole life. If I tithed my estate, would that make up for it?
Might.
I said, well, it's a great thing to do, and you've been forgiven. So I think you should do that. And
I give you absolution.
Right.
We're going to put the information up on the screen if you want to get in touch with Attorney Pippen. Okay, we have a lot of people in the news today that you would have thought would have had enough sense to plan ahead. I think of the singer Prince, and I went online and he. There's about 30 people come forth that think they're related to him, so they're going to do some DNA testing and all, which I'm sure is a blessing and all. And there's no doubt he's a brilliant musician, and they said he kept tight control on his music, his copyright, and his business. But his overall wealth, which is hundreds of millions of dollars.
The local TV, one of the local TV stations came out to interview me the day the story broke that he died without a will. And it was a big story, and it seems like his main heir is his sister, because he wasn't married, and as far as we know, didn't have children, although I think some of those have popped up that think they're children.
Yeah.
But he didn't have a will, so it'll be probated by, imagine probating an estate that size and what that would cost. And it's all governed, it's like I've worked my whole life and I don't care who gets it, just the state decide by statute who's going to get it, and I don't care if it goes through probate. And you can be so careful about your music and so not careful about your state.
Yeah, Minnesota or Michigan, one of those states, they're going to get a lot of money, those states.
Yeah, a lot of states, though, people think you die and the state gets most of it. They don't. It still goes to family members.
Well, what about probate?
Well, probate in Florida, and it's different in each state, the recommended statutory fee for an attorney is 3%, and the higher the amount of money, it goes down a little bit, and the personal representative of the estate will get 3%. So you multiply 3 to 6% times an estate, it can be a lot of money that you can avoid with a living trust. It's one of the subjects we talk about quite often in the show.
Yeah, I want to stick with the wealthy people just for a minute. James Brown, widow and children, thought he left too much to charity, so they're, and then Leona Helmsley left $12 million to her dog, and somebody went to court and got that down to $2 million.
Michael Jackson had a trust, actually, which was good planning, but he didn't put his ranch in the trust. He never funded the trust with one of his main assets, which was his ranch there in California.
That's a good point. Because I got a thing from your office on how to register things to your trust. And do some people come to the attorney and they get the trust, they get all that, and then they don't put the stuff in it?
Well, when they come to our office, we give them instructions like we gave you, and we do, any Florida real estate, we'll do a deed from them to themselves as trustees of their trust. So, and then we give them information and go over a little sheet about how you get savings, checking, bank accounts in the trust. You have to fund the trust to really make it work.
If it's not in there.
And when you do a living trust, you have a will that goes with it. It's called a pour-over, P-O-U-R, will. And it leaves everything to the trust you failed to put in it, but it goes through probate to get to the trust. So the idea is to create a trust and properly fund it to get assets in it, and a funded trust does not go through probate of anything you took the time to actually put in the trust.
Let me remind you again, the two people who put this together, and Attorney Pippen is one of them. State of your estate. I'm telling you, we've offered a lot of good things, but this really could be a life changer for you, and it's yours for a gift, any gift to the program at all. We will send it right out to you. I want to congratulate you and Chris both for asking the right questions in this and opening the eyes of people who've never really thought of that. When I was talking to Stephanie, I mentioned that I had heard you say most people have a larger estate than they really know because they've never sat down and
most
listed
people
it.
say I don't have that much, and then you start adding it up and it's quite a bit. So
yeah,
you know, one of the big things in estate planning now is passwords, and they have some new statutes in Florida about that, because a person dies and doesn't tell anyone what their passwords or passcodes are to things, and that's a nightmare because you can't close down Facebook accounts, LinkedIn accounts, social media accounts. You can't get to I had some parents come in and their son had died and he did all of his banking online, didn't have a bank statement in the house, and they couldn't access the bank account for a while. And it's just a nightmare when
Sounds
you
like a
have
nightmare.
passwords and passcodes you don't share. So we've created a little organizer for people where they can make it a lot easier for family members to take care of that.
I know my grandsons are in the workforce now. They never see a paycheck. And I know the one, when he pays his tithes, pays it online.
Mm-hmm.
And I had them out to lunch the other day, and I gave them each $10. I said, this is cash. That's what this is. And I don't want you to spend it. I just want you to keep it with you in case the whole grid goes down. You'll have something.
Well, they don't even teach kids to write cursive anymore. I mean,
Right.
they're just punching in on their phone.
Right. Okay, let's get to some of these. Do you remember the last time you talked to my mom?
Yes. And she was at 98, or
So,
she
yeah.
was feisty.
Yeah.
You tease her a little bit, she'd tease you right back.
Yeah.
And she would.
But I think you were able to get her to sign something.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that needed to be signed. You said, really, you need her
Probably the
signature.
power of attorney updated.
Yeah, and I said, well, she can't. She said, well, bring her in. And she signed it. In fact, even at that point, her penmanship's better than mine.
Yeah.
So.
You know, a lot of clients come in and they can't sign. They can understand, and I can have contact with them, and I know they're focused on me, and they know what I'm saying, and they want to do something, but their hands, they can't sign. I'll take their hand and put the pen in there and guide. As long as they know what they're doing, I can guide their signature. I can help them. So they shouldn't be ashamed they can't sign. I mean, I help people all the time sign their name.
Yeah. Another thing, I haven't been in to see you for a while. How often should you review everything you have?
About every 3 to 4 years is a good rule of thumb. The power of attorney in Florida's changed, so you need to update that. A lot of banks and financial medical people have their own rules about how, when they accept those. If they're more than 3 or 4 years old, sometimes it's a hassle to accept those. So living wills and power of attorneys in healthcare circuits should be updated about every 3 years. And to review what you've done and who you've put in charge and how you distribute the estate. And if you want to add a church or a charity or a tithe, or you want to you change churches or whatever, you can address all of those issues in the estate plan.
Why do you review the power of attorney to see if they want to change who that is? Because that could happen.
Yeah, a lot of my clients now will add an extra person. So they'll put A or B.
Yeah, I've got to.
And you know, a lot of people just have one. And the new statute makes it a lot easier to be able to add 2 people. And you can do or, where they both don't have to sign.
This is good stuff. I hope you're listening to it. If another person's name is on your checking account, then they can empty it out. Is it better to just have your name on it in a trust?
If you have a trust, it would just be your name.
Okay.
And the trust document would name a successor trustee. So if you became incapacitated, unable to manage your affairs, or passed away, they could easily move up as trustee to take care of the account.
Yeah, now I think most people know what a will is. That's your wishes on how what you have should be distributed and handled. I think there's a lot of people, and it's been a while since you've been here, what a trust is. And that is a very important document today, isn't it?
Well, a lot of people, like you said, might put someone's name on an account, just to go back to that for a second. If they do that, the person they put on there is an owner. And if that person has a car accident, a lawsuit, divorce, then that asset is in jeopardy due to the person that you put on there, their liabilities. So the only reason you do that would be to avoid probate most of the time. So the better choice is a living trust, which is just a fancy will. You create the trust, you're the grantor, the owner, you're the trustee, the manager, so you own and control everything. It has your tax number. It's not a different entity. When you die, the successor trustee can take over and avoid probate, avoid guardianship, make it quick, easy, fast, efficient, and private.
We're running out of time. Let me again remind you that we've sent out hundreds of these. And as I said earlier, I think it's one of the best things we could ever do for you is to offer you the state of your estate with people, and this is not in any way being disparaging, really ignorant about this kind of thing. I was till I met Joe. I don't know if I'd ever have a trust or anything if I hadn't met you, but we'll send you this for a gift to the program, and make it as good as you can, okay? All right? How often do laws change on this type of subject?
Well, the will and trust laws really haven't changed that much substantially that would make you change a document. What changes most seems to be living wills and power of attorneys and healthcare surrogate provisions. And the only thing that's changed real recent about wills is I have some new language in my will and trust. I put about the passwords and passcodes and be able to get those.
I think that's big.
Yeah, and
Seriously.
we added a paragraph in the power of attorney about pet care. People have pets, they can't take care of them, so now you take it to the vet wants to see your authority to be able to make decisions for your pet. So we put some provisions like that in the power of attorney, which are new. And we tweak it a little bit now and then, but it's not really a major change for most people. But every 3 or 4 years, it's good to update, talk to the attorney.
I remember one time you said also that you leave something for the gospel, for the kingdom of God. It might be the biggest testimony you ever leave, just to leave something.
Yeah, when I speak in churches, I talk about the Christian testimony you can leave behind in your will. You can put a statement of faith, which you believe, and the last thing that you sign might be your will, and it's your last chance to maybe make a testimony, make an impact on a person's life by what they read.
Have you had, we've just got a couple minutes, but have you had some real nightmares that you've had to deal with, and then?
With estates?
Yes.
Well, the biggest thing I think is undue influence. So a lot of times a child will bring a parent in and try to do all the talking for the parent and suggesting the documents be changed. And a lot of times they'll be favoring that child more than they were before the child come in. And the biggest reason that wills and trusts get overturned is undue influence. And if you can even prove the child was there during the meeting that the document was changed, that's usually enough to almost win a case, hands down. And a lot of times the child could be out in the parking lot and they brought the parent there to do it, and I don't know the child is in the parking lot. And you know, I've read cases about documents being overturned just because the parent brought the child to the attorney's office and the child wasn't even present during the meeting. So something you very be careful about.
You told me if the kid does all the talking, you shut it down.
Yeah, I usually say, look, I like to do documents that are going to work, so Mom, here's how it works. Mom comes back on her own, doesn't even tell you when she's coming. I get the document done quickly. She can tell you about it afterwards, but let's not do it today. You're just taking a big chance. It's not necessary.
You know, Joe, I appreciate that. I really do. I think that's a sign of real integrity to just, okay, we're going to cut this conversation now until we can really get it right, because it is very important.
And I tell them, look, I could charge you. I could do exactly what you want. I could charge you and make a fee. I'm not going to charge you anything today.
Yeah.
And you come back and let's make this right and let's make it work.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I want you to come back. You got some books in the mail. We'll offer those to the people. But right now we're out of time. So join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.